3, 2, 1. I'll start. Good evening, well, I guess afternoon, race fans. Welcome back to Sebring for round 2 of the NORA Sim Xfinity Series. Yesterday we had the Truck Series here. It was Michael Waltrip claiming victory in his first overall start in the series. Um, we won't see this a repeat actually, as we have no new drivers in the Xfinity Series. So still sitting at our, I believe it's 24 driver mark. But nonetheless, we are ready for what hopes to be an exciting race. As always, joined in the NORA booth, my partner in crime, as we'll call him, Nick Eilis. Nick, welcome back to Sebring, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely love being in Sebring. It's only about 4 hours away from where I live. Still haven't been in real life. Intend to go, but it's a great track. I love watching any race here, and certainly going to be fun for the first time seeing
The
the
NORA booth.
Xfinity cars around here.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw an interesting race yesterday. Kind of touch on it real quick here. We're winding down practice, but definitely different than GT4 race. A lot of mistakes we saw yesterday. And again, it's something we haven't seen so far. I mean, granted, we were at Daytona, but I'll be the first to admit it, I guess. It was nice to see, those mistakes that you normally don't tend to see from the AI.
Yeah, I think the car plus the road courses exaggerates that a little bit in a good way, I think. You don't really see the mistakes out of the AI pretty much at all when it comes to oval side of the racing. But when it comes to road racing, these cars, the tires that they run, the rubber that it's made out of, and you get certain skills, certain ways that things are done, and you'll see mistakes out of them, and it makes for great racing.
And I think I definitely saw that. And we kind of expected it being a road course and just kind of how the AI work. Once you kind of got spread out, that was pretty much all she wrote. We saw a couple battles due to different tire strategies and pit stop strategies, but it's kind of one of them deals. Again, we've talked about it the whole time we've been here. Basically, you can't really help the AI, and I think we saw it again. I'll touch on real quick before we do head down to the track, though. We kind of had a little pre-race, I guess, win picks, we'll call them. I know you went with old KB Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick second, and Nadu third. I kind of matched you with our top two. We just kind of flipped them. I went Harvick and Busch, and I actually threw in Jason Anderson from Rebel Racing, who I believe had a decent run at Daytona, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me double check on that, but I believe you are correct. Jason Anderson finished, looks like 13th. Correction, 12th. 12th.
Okay, so maybe not exactly what I had thought.
No.
As I just noticed, comments and chat are disabled for the stream apparently, but nonetheless, I believe we saw
What?
Harvick take the win last week, but he is
We
actually
did.
not the point leader.
No, he is not, which is honestly, I might say, surprising.
I know it. I guess it kind of lends itself to this kind of format. Just because you win a race doesn't mean you walk away with max points per se. So we're along with our fastest in practice right now, Jerry Nadu. But
So, interestingly enough, apparently this content is being made for kids.
hmm.
As that is why there is no live chat.
Interesting.
So, since we don't want to lose this, let's not use words that would be no words.
And funny enough, I definitely thought I had not checked that because it wasn't checked from yesterday's broadcast. But that will be
Interesting.
yeah. I'm not really sure why it, I guess you could say, kind of self-checked. But with that being said, though, we will stay along here with Jerry Nadu, as we will see if my button works. As I believe it will not, since I clicked off, so we'll go. And it did.
And it does.
Look at that.
So there we go. So Nadu comes home first in practice. It's not a large gap. Tomac only 2/10 slower. Craven only 6/10 slower. Craven being his teammate. So we'll get into qualifying here around the Sebring International Raceway. Well, Sebring, Florida. Gonna be fun. Gonna be a lot of fun here today, I think.
So one thing I did ask, we obviously talked about who we think is going to grab the win and stuff like that, but one thing we did not touch on, pole.
Yeah, so Jerry Nadu, fastest in practice. We know that doesn't always equate to being fastest in qualifying. I'm going to go with the surprise pick, and I don't know if he will actually pull it off, but it's going to be my pick. And it's going to be a little bit of bias, but, so be it. Bobby Labonte. I think Bobby gets the pole. I think he surprises the world and puts that number 18 Interstate Batteries Toyota Supra on the pole.
I'm actually going to go with your win, or your pick to win. I'm going to go Kyle Busch as an update on the video. That was the problem. For some reason, it self-checked that it was for kids. But
interesting.
It is fixed. Should have so chat back up.
Like we will see. Many players offer videos made for kids. And we are good to go. All right.
So yeah, not exactly sure why that happened.
And we could go back to using no words.
Yeah, kind of like a no square, but just words.
Exactly.
Real quick, as we're waiting for Jerry to come around and complete his I guess we'll say warm-up lap, we'll look here at the race conditions, and I would argue, a little bit warmer track temp, but something to kind of go with that. A little less wind as well, but more rubber laid down on the racetrack. So I know just from my personal racing experience, yes, more rubber is good. Obviously, more grip, stuff like that. But with the increased track temp, that rubber almost loses its grip. It actually starts to get slick in the rubber.
And there does get to a point where there is too much rubber.
Yes.
So, and I don't know if we will see that too much today. I know there is no expected rain in the forecast for today or tomorrow. So we're looking at probably a completely covered track when we come in here tomorrow for the Cup race. And they'll definitely be on the receiving end of probably too much rubber. And that's going to make for interesting things as well as Nadu comes through turn 3 for his first flyer, and his only flyer.
So I'll be completely honest. I was checking the weather just to kind of fact check us, and I forgot to switch it, so it's on my hometown. And I'm scrolling through to 1-2 p.m. tomorrow, and it says snow. And I looked, and I was like, wait.
That's not accurate.
It goes from 70 and sunny to 40 and snow? But no, I fixed it.
Florida? No.
Yeah, I fixed it, and you are right. 0% chance of rain for a while, actually. So our Cup guys, they could see a very rubbered-in racetrack.
And while I'm sure a lot of them are ready to get out of Florida, that's just not going to be the case for the Xfinity or the Cup Series next week either, as they're still going to be in Florida.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to be ready to leave Florida, but hey.
Well, then again, they might not be. Who knows? It's 70 degrees in January.
That's true.
You can't argue with that too much. They might be like, you know what? I'm staying. Call me when we're about halfway into the season and it's warm everywhere.
But one thing to kind of keep going with the rubber conversation, we saw it again with the trucks yesterday. Guys getting loose just about anywhere, locking up the right front, left front, depending on the corner, just kind of slipping and sliding. Obviously the rubber, in theory, will help with that. But, could we potentially still see some slipping and sliding as they're coming off
Well,
the final corner.
Absolutely, I think you could, because you start getting out of the groove. You start getting out of the line where the rubber is, and that's dirty. There's marbles out there. There's all kinds of things that you just don't want to be in, and that's gonna put you where you don't want to be. And I think we're both wrong on this. Is Bobby and Kyle make the top 10, but just barely. So,
And I not surprised to kind of toot my own horn, but Briscoe P2 kind of surprised me. I mean, I think he's a 99, but
yep.
at one point I figured Kyle or Bobby for that matter would have jumped in there, but Jerry Nadeau, quickest in practice, 11th on the board right now.
Yeah, so it just continues to show your practice time isn't indicative of where you're going to qualify. Obviously, nobody going home today as we had in the truck, so that's nice for them. But your winner from last week, he's got that little sticker right there on that roof line, right above that window, and he's looking to add another one for sure, and it's looking pretty good right now.
So one thing I noticed about the buttons, I have to be clicked on the sim.
Correct.
So that's going to be annoying. But we don't have to advance anymore, we just have the cautions, so that's an easy fix. But I believe we can split this up into 12s for grid, no?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, you take the top 12, I'll take the bottom 12, or vice versa.
Perfect. And I think again, since we're on a road course, I will go ahead and jump in and quickly.
All right, fellas, get ready to roll here. Left side on the restart.
That, and we will pop up your grid presented by the National Oval Racing Association. On the pole, sure. Kevin Harvick with a 206.048. Teammate Chase Briscoe going to line up on his outside in P2. Justin Barcia with a 206.175 will start third with his teammate Jason Anderson to his outside. Noah Gragson leading the Susi Motorsport camp in fifth with a 206.265, followed by another teammate actually to Barcia and Anderson, Eli Tomac. Ricky Craven and Leroy Jenkins, I believe both teammates as well for Susi Motorsports, if I'm not mistaken, will make up your fourth row. In row 5, I believe teammates again, if I'm not mistaken.
The two nightmare cars, yes.
Bobby Labonte and Kyle Busch. Rounding out your top 12 in row number 6, Jerry Nadeau, which again, teammates on the Susi Motorsports camp, and teammates to your front row as they go sliding again, as we call it, the ice corner. Jerry Nadeau and Harrison Burton.
In the 13th, once again, another nightmare car. It's Jeb Burton. And 14th, Matthew Hibbs. His teammate in the 69, Jack Moff, starts from 15th, and teammates to Anderson and Barcia and all them, Cooper Webb in 16th. 17th is Jarrett Brooks, and 18th is another one of the Conover machines, it's Ty Majeski. Doug Matog in 19th, and the last of the Nightmare Machines in 20th. Ryan Beat will roll off 21st. Haley Deegan from 22nd. 23rd will be Jeffrey Earnhardt, and rounding out the grid from the back, Travis Pastrana. So a lot shorter of a grid. Nobody goes home. Going to be interesting to say the least. Going to be really interesting putting 38 cars on the track here tomorrow as well.
Oh, and that's without checking to see if we have any additions. I know, like we said, we had a couple guys join the Discord yesterday. So we don't know. We might have another go or go home situation tomorrow.
Absolutely, and I look forward to that. I welcome that at all weeks. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not we will. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Certainly going to be interesting. But they're going to come down here, come into Le Mans just about, and then hit the Almond Straight. That'll be just about enough to get them to the green flag for this race. Looking like another Ford parade up at the front. Seems like Ford being the popular manufacturer here in the NORA Sim Series. Got a couple Chevys up there breaking up the party this time, and the Toyotas. So putting their money where they can. But certainly Ford, clearly the most popular manufacturer here.
Something I kind of want to keep an eye on. We've seen the starts get hectic. I know the practice, like I said yesterday, the guy that had the pole did not lead the field off of turn 1. He lost the lead by the time they got down there. So it'll be interesting to see if Harvick and even Briscoe, for that matter, can kind of hold the front row.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep an eye further on back in the field because I believe you said somebody came from 8th to 3rd. So we'll see if history can repeat itself, maybe, as we'll ride along with Barsha.
Green.
And they're coming to take the green flag, and there it is. Green, green, green. We are going for round 2 at the Sebring International Raceway. And it actually looks like Harv's going to get in. He's going to get sideways. Is he going to be... drifts it through the whole corner, and I'm wondering if everybody's going to make it through. It does look like they do. But you said it. They could go from 8th to 3rd and look in 4th place. It's Bobby Labonte from 10th. Or 8th, I believe, actually. Bobby was 8th. Kyle was 10th.
Yes.
And out of nowhere also, just behind him in 6th place, Jeb Burton. Jeb Burton all the way up to 6th from, I believe, a 13th place starting spot. And the biggest loser of that start has to be Chase Briscoe. Started on the outside row, and he is all the way back into 8th place now.
I believe. Yeah, we already have a DNF.
Jason Anderson. Okay, well, Jason Anderson definitely was the biggest loser there then. So let's see what happens here with Anderson. It looks like,
Ooh.
Oh my word. Jack Moff just barely misses him, but
And that
Deegan
should have
Jenkins,
been a yellow, but we missed it.
We did miss it. It does look like Jenkins and Deegan really getting in that. Deegan getting the whole brunt of it. Looks like he just got sent off by the 61 there. A little bit of damage to Hibbs. Deegan really got in there hard.
I believe Deegan has also towed, which we will check that one real quick after we handle Anderson. And yes, Deegan as well.
So that's not surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if she blew her motor right away. And is the 81 still going?
Yes.
Okay.
Way behind, but yes.
Yep. Just wanted to make sure that he was still going. So an interesting start, to say the least. We had some big movers right off the jump, if you would, in especially Bobby Labonte and Jeb Burton. And a couple guys going backwards, and then just another incident right off the bat. And that one certainly might be the most vicious we've seen all week.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it. Mistakes from the AI. That one, I guess you could call it a mistake, yes, but I almost kind of like a racing deal too. Like, maybe spotter said clear, and it obviously wasn't clear yet. But
no, he definitely wasn't clear yet. So it does look like Harvick, pulling a little bit, but he's not getting too far away. And then you've got Barsha, Craven, Labonte, and Nadu. Certainly an interesting way to start this race. It looks like Jeb is going to defend from his teammate Kyle here. And it looks like Chase might try to take advantage of that, but he's not going to get it done. So Jeb's going to hold on to 6th and Kyle in 7th. So continues to be interesting. Change how we certainly were thinking that the results were going to go. I think all of our picks are still up there.
No, I picked Anderson.
No, you picked Anderson. That's correct.
Anderson was rounding out my podium, and that. Sorry, Jason, kind of gave you the curse on that one.
No, well, hopefully we don't give Harvick Bush the curse as well, or Nadu for that matter.
Yeah. So right now, Bush is the furthest back of all of our picks, as you have Nadu 5th, and then Harvick leading.
Yep. So it does look like we were pretty spot on-ish, if you would. I think Anderson had already fallen outside of the top 10 at the time of his incident, or was right there at the top 10, because he got into it with Brooks in the 61. So is we're going to see another attempt at something maybe here. I think Nadu just locked it up in front of these guys. Looks like both Kyle and Briscoe just locked it up there. And Gonna try to get through here with that DuPont and that Visa car going at it, and now Briscoe's looking to get through there as well. But just Jeb doing a great job trying to hold his teammate off. And Briscoe just trying to get around both of them, really.
Something that kind of impressed me too, the way Harvick got into the corner and
Was sideways.
yeah, for
the
lack
whole
of better
time.
words, just skated through the entire exit of the corner and somehow hung on. I thought as soon as we saw him get sideways, that was going to be all she wrote, but apparently not. As we have our first pit stop of the day, you got to believe it's for damage with Danica.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
We'll keep an eye on that one. So we have a battle for second.
And it's not looking like Craven's going to get it done yet. And now that's going to put him under fire from Bobby Labonte and Jerry Nadeau. So he's now he was looking at second. Now he's got to be protecting for third even. So an excellent job from everybody involved here. As you can see, Jeb kind of hurting Kyle and Briscoe back there a little bit. I would argue he's definitely a good driver. He's good enough to be here and run well. But I don't think he's really legitimately faster than Kyle or Briscoe, if you would. But he's being able to hold him off, and the longer he can hold him off, the better off he is for position. We saw that work out for Snoop Dogg yesterday.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe stages are 12 laps today?
Correct. 12 and 24.
So we know, obviously they can make it on fuel, but one thing to touch on too, granted, a little smaller field, but everybody for the most part, obviously Deegan and Anderson made it through turn 1, but everybody made it through turn 1. We're still green, so we could see, like we mentioned about, the GT4 race and then even the truck race, once you get going, you get spread out. That's kind of all she wrote. As Tomac with heavy damage.
And he is slow as well.
Kind of
So
see.
interesting to see where that happened. He's
right here.
And it looks like he's going to make contact with Majeski. He just tried to put it where he shouldn't have, if you ask me.
So I think, back a little bit and ride along here.
Yeah, I think he tried to shove this car where it probably didn't need to go. I know they were running slow, but this is certainly not a spot to try to dive in on somebody. Yeah. Tomac just sends it and gets hard into the wall. He's going to have a lot of damage here, and he's certainly very slow as he's on pit road.
Danica is still on pit road as well, so again, we'll keep an eye on that one. As Briscoe is done.
Oh my word! What has happened here? As it does look like Bush got around Burton, but you can see Briscoe just by himself. And then I have to assume that something must have broke, and that he just couldn't get the car going again.
So not to be biased on that one, but I think that one's a little eh.
I agree, but as you can see with that little second place battle there a couple laps ago is done for Harvick. He's out to almost a 3-second lead at this point over Barsha, Craven, Labonte, and Nadeau. So it's interesting to see how quickly things like that can happen. It's not that he was really being much faster than them for quite a while. They were hanging with him for the most part. Yes, he was pulling away slightly, but not to this extent. But when you start getting side by side and battling, you're slowing up both cars getting into any corner. So you'll end up losing a lot of time.
Your fastest car of the race so far is Craven with a 6.587, Harvick with a 5.93. So interesting to keep an eye on that.
And now the other thing to keep an eye on, Bush is cleared, like I said, Jeb Burton. He's now going to look to try and see if he can't get some fast laps in, and he's already gapped Burton pretty well here. So going through what he can to try to maybe run down those guys in front of him, get an extra couple points before the end of this stage.
So to note, Danica back on track. She had a 2-minute 43-second pit stop. Tomac right now approaching actually 2 minutes as well. But both back on track, and obviously both will overtake Briscoe when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of looking for a battle. I would say this. I lied. That is not the closest one. The closest one is still for second between these four.
And it looks like Craven got a little bit sideways through there. Certainly, we've seen it happen through that corner. You call it the ice corner, and I don't think that that's too far off of a wrong name for that. I think that's an accurate name, and you could see they get a little bit close through that hairpin corner, which is great to see. Makes for close battles there, but I think that ice corner certainly is going to prove some problems for some people at some point. Barsh is going to go defensive. Craven's going to look to the outside. This could be certainly going to slow them up, because anytime you take a defensive line like that, you're not able to enter the corner the way you want, and you're losing speed and losing time. So
real quick to point out our 3 DNFs so far. Jason Anderson, again, I would say kind of dominated Daytona. 39 laps led, most laps led. I believe won a stage as well. Was 12th in points, 20 out of the lead. Deegan was 24th, so last, and Briscoe was 19th. So not too much as far as that's concerned.
Other than, I guess, for Anderson.
Yeah, as far as
Anderson
affecting,
definitely the biggest loser, yeah.
But, definitely obviously hurts being this early in the season still. But, as again, Barsh going to go defensive.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because you still can hold speed through here on the attacking line pretty well, even when a driver goes defensive. And you can hold pretty well defensively through there. But it's going to be all about getting that run in that scenario for this straightaway. And it looks like Barsh is able to hold off there pretty well, and he continues to hold second place. But you can see the gap that they keep battling like this, and you can see the gap just keeps getting bigger. The gap now up to Harvick from Barsh is up to 4.5 seconds at this point.
As Busch just closed this gap from him to Nadu down to 3.4. Jeb kind of holding steady, better than I thought he would, to be honest. But
yeah, I didn't expect him to drop like a rock, but I definitely expected him to lose a little, as I think we're going to see a legitimate battle here for second place. And it's actually going to end up, I think, costing Craven. It is Bobby Labonte slips around Bobby Labonte to third place, and it looks like even Nadu is still thinking about challenging Craven here. At least he was. Doesn't look like he got a real chance to do it. And now we have a new third place runner. It's Bobby Labonte. So now he's going to try to go up and get after Justin Barcia.
Which, if you're Harvick, you got to be loving this. Win last week, leading stage 1, led from flag to flag so far. And like we said, won the race, but not your point leader. So, kind of wanting to get max points here today and kind of take the point lead back. But this is exactly how you want to see this first stage. You got these guys battle, and you can just drive off into the sun.
But I would argue we have seen that a 97 can get the job done over the 100s here at Sebring. And Bobby Labonte clearly putting it to these guys at a 97. Maybe Harvick might be starting to get a little bit concerned that it's Bobby coming forward. Certainly no concern for this stage, but you'd want to keep an eye on it probably for the longer run of the race. Certainly, if Bobby can get into second or third by the time they go to that final stage, and really give Harvick a run for his money, then we could have a really great show. And let's not count out any of these guys really here. You get a new stage going, and now all of a sudden Harvick is not 5 seconds ahead. He's 0. He's right there with him as Bobby overcooks it into 3 and is completely sideways through that corner, manages to hold on to it. He's going to be on the outside of the ice turn, and looks like he's going to be able to hold that and carry on the outside. Now Nadu looking to the inside through the big bend of Craven, and he might even get a chance if he was willing to break late enough at Bobby Labonte, and he is going to look at that. Bobby's going to hold steady on the outside, and Bobby clears him. But you know who's licking his chops watching these 3? It's Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I mentioned a couple laps ago, that gap was 3 seconds. It is down to 7/10. And he is, like you said, licking his chops. The stage is winding down. I believe we'll be coming to 4 to go this time by. And Harvick, even with, we've seen, obviously he's faster than Barsha, only 2/10 faster that lap. At a 206.5, Barsha 206.7.
And like I said, I believe that it wasn't really that he was that much faster that he got his lead over these guys. It was that Barsha and Craven were battling pretty hard there for a few laps. And I think that allowed Harvick to just kind of clear away and continue to run his race. And now you can see Barsha's cleared this little group here. And he's running clean laps. And he's even gapped these guys as well. As you can see now, even Burton's under defense from Gregson back here. They're not, these two aren't that far off these guys either, honestly. I mean, they're far enough, and especially if they start battling, as Gregson's going to send that in. He's sideways through Sunset Bend a little bit, and will he be able to hold off on the outside? It doesn't look like Jeb Burton's going to get the job done and hold on to 7th here.
So kind of watching on timing and scoring that battle for your final stage point, which really, in all honesty, isn't a battle, as Jack Moff has a 2.1 second gap back to Majeski, who, if he's not careful, will be under fire from Matthew Hibbs and Leroy Jenkins.
So Jenkins making a good bit of a comeback here. I believe he was at one point down to 15th, 16th, somewhere in there. Maybe even 18th, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but certainly he lost a lot of time after being held up with the incident that occurred.
And just talking about a comeback, he was not really involved, kind of slowed up by the Anderson mishap.
Well, I believe he did get some front end damage from that, and it did look like his rear end was a little bowed up.
But
you were referring to Burton.
Mm-hmm.
The other Burton
came from, he was dead last. He was 24th on the field. Well, technically 23rd, I guess. And he's marched up to 15th, trying to hawk down Cooper Webb, which I've been kind of watching the lap times. He is definitely gaining. Cooper last time by the 208.8. Burton was a 207.3. Which, comparing that to your leaders, obviously if you went off lap time for position, he would actually be faster than Kyle Busch, who's running 6th right now, as Busch ran a 208.3.
Speaking of, I was about to say, I believe he's on the back bumper of Craven, and you could see, I think Craven and Nadu got into a little bit of a battle as Bobby's starting to pull away a little bit. So I think those two started a little bit of a battle. Anytime you see that, you're going to see the car in front of you pull away a little bit. You don't want to let them get too far away, as once again, Jeb is defensive into Sunset Bend down the Ullman Street. And it certainly helps. You go defensive like that, and they're not going to get any draft, so they're not going to get as good of a run as they possibly could have and stay outside. But this is certainly not a typical corner, and it does look like they can hold the outside pretty well. It's just not going to be enough to get the job done here. Jeb's going to continue to go defensive and really just try and hold off for another, I believe, 3 laps.
Yeah, which we know they can make it on fuel in this stage. So, and that's actually, I was going to say it was Gregson's best chance, as he held us onto his right rear quarter panel, but it looks like he kind of backed out of it and going to hopefully save this run for another corner.
Yeah, and, sometimes you'd rather back out of it and preserve the car. No reason to crash in stage 1 if you can avoid it. And, you can't win the race if you're out in stage 1. So sometimes backing out of it is your best bet. But it's interesting how this entire race, it's been like a 4-car battle up there for second for a while, and now it's for third. It's just been interesting how they've been able to keep together like that. As Cooper's going to overshoot the corner, and certainly Harrison's going to get him here. In fact, that had already happened, I guess.
I was wondering, because I'm looking, and I saw the pass on timing and scoring, and when I went to it, he was still ahead of him. So he may have not been live, which if we weren't, that is my mistake. But so we actually had a battle here, I believe. Moff caught Brooks, made the pass, and look who that brought into play. Majeski, Hibbs, Leroy, all battling for this final stage point as we're coming to, I believe, 2 to go.
Yes, this should be 2 to go at the line this time once Harvick crosses. And there it is. Harvick just crossed the line. So 2 to go there. Bobby's going to look to hold on to third. Certainly, Nadu looking to hold on to at least fourth. Maybe challenge Bobby. Craven, same thing. Hopefully challenging the guy in front of him. It's an interesting battle. I don't think Brooks is as good as the cars around him, personally. I think some of those cars just have better funding, if you would. And I think you'll see it here, although, who knows, this is going to be an interesting move here as Majeski goes to the outside. We saw Gregson back out of it. Majeski is not going to, though. And you could just see Majeski willing to send that car in just a little bit harder and a little bit deeper. Certainly helped him out there a little bit, but now he's under
Going to slam the door on Hibbs.
And Brooks got sideways through the ice corner a little bit, so that hurt his run there. That would have been the chance that he could have maybe got away from Majeski a bit. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, as I think whoever was behind Hibbs, I think that was Jenkins. Something happened with him through the ice corner. Because he was right behind them. I mean, he was on their tail.
It looked like he got loose. I saw he got sideways, but I thought he kept going.
Yeah, he did keep going. It just looks like he got so loose that he had to slow up and lost a lot of time there. So,
and we did have a pass here as well, or
Gregson
an attempt.
Oh.
Burton held him off
once more. So Burton continuing to run well here. Certainly a 7th place finish would be a huge bump up for Burton, who I think his best, he didn't even have a stage finish this past week at Daytona.
So again, we kind of been touching on it, kind of with Barsha maybe potentially holding up the front few. I think you could say the same thing about Brooks. Moff made the pass, and he has gapped him by 3 seconds. And now Brooks under fire from, again, like we said, Majeski, Hibbs. Jenkins was there, but Jenkins obviously got loose and fell back some. But this is your battle for the final stage points.
With them coming to 1 to go, this is the white flag this time by. And Majeski's going to send it up in there, and we'll see what he can do on this outside here at Sunset Bend. And it's also opening the door for Hibbs, who's now going to look to Majeski's inside and challenge him maybe into 1, as they're both going to maybe challenge Brooks into 1 as well, as Majeski's going to go to the outside, and it looks like Hibbs is going to go with him. Majeski's going to send us in the outside the same way he did on the previous lap. Will he hold here? And it doesn't look like he will. And it's going to open up the door. It looks
everybody
like
goes defensive.
And you get a little bit of fun. I love it as
Kyle Busch.
Oh no!
Oh no! I believe we see the same instance we saw at Briscoe. Kind of one of them like random toe moments.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, gets loose, spins it. Went to go get going. Like these guys come through.
And just
yeah,
I just don't understand that.
Well,
Kyle Busch is out of the race. So that is huge. I have noticed there that some of the guys were moving forward, and I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. How did that happen? And I didn't catch who it was. It's Jenkins.
So that changed this whole battle, as we see Jenkins make the move, I believe, into this right-hander. But that changed this whole perspective, because now Majeski basically gifted a stage point here.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people at home are going to be happy about Kyle Busch being out of the race for sure. Can never argue with that too much. And we'll see here is Harvick's going to come across the line. And looks like he's going to be your stage winner here in Sebring for the first stage. So his first stage win of the season.
Barsha hung on.
Last. Yep, Barsha held on.
Actually kind of drove away. 5.8 seconds back to Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
Nadu held on. Craven. Burton held off Gregson.
Moff in 8th. 9th is Brooks. And 10th is looking like it's going to be Majeski. There's not really anybody to challenge him at that point. As Harrison Where did he come from?
He's a man on a mission right there.
I know we usually say that about Harvick, but boy, where did he come from on that one?
Yeah, he's running lap times faster than all these guys in front of him. If we went off lap time for position, he would be P6 right now. Burton and Gregson both running 208.4, 208.7. Burton with a 207.3.
It's going to be interesting as they'll come around, catch the pace car, get a chance to pit. And we'll see how they stack up for stage 2.
And actually, Barsha was your quickest that last time by at a 206.7. Harvick slowed down to a 206.5. Or sorry, I'm reading their fastest last. My apologies. So Harvick 209.3. And Barsha 209.7. Everybody else in the 211s, which obviously we threw the caution. But so my apologies. I was reading the best lap. But even then, based off your best lap, Burton still man on a mission, we'll say.
Oh, absolutely. The question here, though, is what's the decision? Do you pit? I don't think they can make it to the end of the next stage without pitting. Although I would say I think it would be close. I think we were seeing an estimated of 23 laps on a fuel run. Estimated, I'll say. So we'll see what the decision is here, and if anybody stays out, we'll make sure we follow them to see just how far they can go, because that's going to be interesting. Because if they could go, say, 23 laps, does the caution allot them enough time to save fuel? I think the answer is no, because I don't think the AI do that. But, what do we know? The AI's proven us wrong at every race so far this season.
So lucky here for Jeffrey Earnhardt, which, not to be rude about it, but lucky for him, got the caution, stays on the lead lap. Your lucky dog will actually be Travis Pastrana once we get caught up here. But should I wave him now, you think, or wait till he gets caught up?
No. Make sure that. Okay, well, never mind. As they make sure it doesn't automatically wave him, but I guess if you do it, it probably takes away the automatic wave anyway.
We'll see. I just wanted to be sure, because I know it's enabled, but I know we didn't get one yesterday, so.
That is true. So it'll be the lucky dog, and I believe if he's the lucky dog, then Tomac and Danica should be a lap down.
Yes, Tomac is actually 2 down from his 5-minute pit stop. Danica just 1.
Interesting. So that's going to be hectic going into turn 1, to say the least.
Well, if you're Harvick, your one, I guess we'll say, priority has to be clear them getting into turn 1.
Yeah, it certainly, you don't want to be held up by them and offer any opportunity to the likes of Bobby Labonte or Justin Barsha. And that's if your pit crew gets you out in the front.
Yeah.
To be fair there.
Well, yeah, so all right, so I'll say, whoever is leading at that moment, yes, try and clear.
Because we know that the pit crews don't always do what their skill ratings say they're going to do.
I believe temp has gone down 1, stayed the same, I believe.
I believe it has stayed the same. The wind has died down, though.
Track temp has actually cooled off as well.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens here with Pastrana. I know we had an issue yesterday as well, trying to wave people around, but.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting.
Oh, we're thinking about it. We're going. There's people out of line. Please don't hit them.
Yes, please don't destroy the car. Okay.
Oh, go back this way. Pick a lane, Junior. Don't hit the race leader. You'd be disliked by many. All right,
yeah, let's not destroy any of the race leaders.
So there's that. So now we will see
who's gonna pit.
You would have to imagine everybody, but it looks like they are. Yep, here they come.
And let's also keep an eye out, see, just to be sure.
I said, I don't even know everybody was
I'm
caught
not
up yet.
seeing. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody deciding to stay out either.
So these guys are still trying to catch up. So 15th on back, but your top 14's here. Let's see.
What's the decision on pit stops?
Do we still see the wall contact being made? If I had to guess here, I think Barsha's pit crew, I could be mistaken, is at 100. So, see what happens.
Nadu is going to get out first. Looks like then it's going to be Harvick, although that's not going to be the advantage. And Bobby, the biggest loser there, for sure.
And I believe I just saw him put Majeski in the fence trying to hold that spot.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I don't blame him. I would too. Track position is key. We've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Lost one there, and I think he kind of said, no more.
Yeah, he did. Nah, I'm not letting you pass.
So I'll have to keep an eye on that one. As we
Yeah,
have.
It's going to be interesting. So
Harvick.
Then they do. Barsha. Gregson, who kicker got him out really well. Moff. Beat.
He's the only person to stay out.
So that's going to be interesting. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. Craven and Levante. Majeski, Jenkins. So even Burton's pit crew didn't help much there. Hibbs, Brooks. I think Harrison's lost him a spot. Although in fairness, I think the 62 stayed out, so that cost them that. So.
And these guys all stayed out as well, but in their defense, they have not caught the pace car yet. So
we'll have to see how the lap cars are going to play into this situation as well.
And I am going to do this.
No go, no go, no go.
Just like we did yesterday. Get the field caught up.
Oh, you give him an extra lap? Yep. I like that decision.
So, talking about pit stops. Yeah, Nadu, the only person to 14 with a 14.9. Harvick 15.1. Barsha 17.8. Gregson 15.7. Moff 15.1. Craven a 17.5. Beat, we said stayed out. Labani a 19.1. Majeski 15.4. Leroy 18.0. And Jeb a 20.9. Harrison even a 21.6. So
some slow stops there.
Is Pastrana taking advantage of his waiver? I'm going to hit pit road. I was going to say it might cost him being able to catch the field, but a 17.9. So he actually had a better stop than Bobby.
Yeah. And a few other guys.
The only two to stay out would be Jeffrey and Ryan. We'll see if Ryan pits here. And obviously Jeffrey has not caught the field yet.
It would appear Ryan technically did not beat Bobby or Majeski out of pit road, which is now why he is in ninth.
And he's not going to pit here, so
he's deciding. This is going to be interesting because if we stay green for stage 2, we had another completely green stage, which is theoretically possible. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, and I'm not going to say it's not going to happen.
Here come your two lappers.
Yep. So that's going to, like we also said, throw something in the soup here, if you would. We'll have to see if Harvick can clear Danica getting into 1. And if the rest of those guys can clear Danica and Tomac getting through 1 or as early as they can. So it'll be interesting. There's a lot of things that could go wrong here. And I want to keep my eye on the 62, mainly because I want to see how far he can push that. I want to see if he can make it to the end of the stage. Did all these guys just pit for no reason? Or did they come and get tires, fuel? Is he going to be short by a lap? And if he's short by a lap or two, then he might be in a half-decent position even. Although I believe his big problem, though, is that he is not going to restart from the lead. I think he would have wanted to restart from the lead for this strategy to really work out well.
Which was kind of just flipping through. Pastrana just now on that back straightaway. So, yes, he did get to pit and get tires, but I don't believe he's going to catch the field.
I don't believe he is either. So, an interesting strategy call to come pit and get tires, but certainly, I guess, the right decision, if you would. It's just going to cost you the ability to be right on the back of the field.
I believe that was our only caution, correct? Yeah, so 37 to go, coming to 36 this time by. The only caution so far being the stage caution, but...
And no lead changes.
As of now, yeah. I would say for Harvick, this is the best case scenario, because we know I believe Barsha's 100. I believe... And I don't think Danica is that high.
I know she's the lowest of my drivers.
So I think Barsha has damage, but I would argue almost best case scenario as long as you can get the jump on Danica.
Well, Nadu is also a 100, so there is that to watch.
I think we're about to, if we're going to see a lead change, I think it's going to happen right here. As Pastrana is just now down, I guess we'll say, I'll just call it the second straightaway, and he's heading towards the hairpin. So I would argue just about a half a track behind, but all we give is one extra lap. He chose the pit, which I would say is smart. But
yeah, because I don't think that 62 is going to be able to maintain position, and I don't think it's going to work out well for him.
So we saw it with Snoop Dogg. We'll check in on Pastrana. So I have the leaders.
He is on the other side of the track.
Yeah, the leaders are just now entering this final corner. So we're going to stay in the NORA blimp for this restart, just to see maybe if we can get a better view of the carnage that could potentially ensue.
Green flag.
As we are back underway for stage 2. And Harvick did not get a good jump.
A great jump. Barsha going to use that as well. He's going to get to the underside of Tomac, which might set him up well to maybe get an advantage on both Danica and Harvick. He's going to go really far to the inside. And it looks like Majeski's battling with Labonte. He's going to get it done. Jack Moff coming forward, and I believe that's Barsha to the inside of Danica. He's gotten around Harvick.
It is. And look who's up to 5th. Majeski sent it up the inside of Gregson. Gets the spot as Jenkins skating again. I actually like this camera angle.
And Jeb Burton, once again, getting a great run. He's up to 7th.
He got a terrible run. Oh, his Hibbs backs out of it. We might be 3 wide heading into the hairpin.
And, oh, boy.
Tomac's trying to get out of the way, it seems like.
Yeah, and it's now Jeb Burton versus him, but Ty Majeski with a great run on that restart. And even Jack Moff. I believe Jack Moff's ahead of Jerry Nadeau.
That he is, as they're all chasing Barsha now. The main story we wanted to watch was Ryan Beat.
He's already back to 15th, so like I said, you don't have tires, and that's going to make a huge, huge difference. As it looks like both Craven and Labonte are going to get around. It looks like Gregson locked up the tires on the outside there, around trying to get around Danica and Jeb. It does look like he's going to get that done, so he's up to 6th. Jeb back to 7th.
I heard a lot of carnage.
I'm not really seeing
everybody's
where.
Still going though.
Well,
I lied.
Oh, there's your carnage, and it's Tomac and Todd. So what happened here is Tomac for the second time is around in this corner.
Oh, the same instance. As Tomac got it done to him that time. So we'll see what happens here.
I think they both toe.
Yeah, Tomac I see in the they both towed. And Tomac is the tree. And I believe
so that's interesting because I believe I want to say when it came to points, yeah, Tomac was 4th in points coming into today. So that is not going to be a good points day for Tomac. No stage points. Nothing to really show for it today as Nadu is trying to get around Moth and just can't get it done just yet, as it's like Craven trying to hold off Bobby for 9th. He's going to get that done. Harrison's coming to the front as well. A completely different stage, to say the least, from last time. Something's somewhat similar, but as for your leader, Harvick there, Moffs looks like he got Nadu finally got around him. Now it's going to be Majeski looking to get around him, and you can see how that battling between Moff and Nadu brought Gregson and Jeb Burton up to this pack.
And I would argue the biggest beneficiary from the restart, as Moff gets a little loose, has to be Majeski. And I don't know if you saw it from the blip, but he sent it up on the inside of Gregson.
It's not going to be Majeski for too much longer. He keeps that up. And this might be Gregson's day done.
Oh!
And it is! And he does! Somebody finally did it. We said it might happen a few times. That is absolutely Gregson's day done. As he is on the tires.
We watched it live, but I want to see that again. That was...
absolutely.
And I'm going to give us a little bit of a better view of this one.
So Majeski just sliding it out here, which, and he saves... There's not much room for Gregson. He gets out here, and there's a bump right there. And he just sends the car straight onto the tires.
I would argue one of the better wrecks we've seen so far.
Absolutely, but I just can't believe what I saw. Absolutely, Gregson's been one of the better cars today, and he's out of the race. And we saw it from Kyle. It's incredible to see these things where these cars that are really good cars, as you can see, Barsha is getting smaller, or not smaller, but larger and larger in front of Kevin Harvick. And it's kind of the vice versa for Barsha in his rearview mirror. Harvick is going to be getting bigger and bigger as well.
Harvick 2/10 fast that lap, 206.7 to Harvick's 206.5. Nadu a 208.0. And Moth and Majeski in the 10s.
We got Burton and Jenkins battling it out. Looks like Jenkins might look to the inside. Somebody locks it up. They all kind of lock it up there. Jeb follows Majeski through there. Jenkins gets the pass done.
I'll watch the interval up front. So it's 0.8 right now. This is arguably the best action we have on track.
Yep. As I think Jenkins just got loose through that one corner there.
Tell you what, this will be a career day for Majeski. Not a terrible run last week, but again, like we said, I never thought I'd see the aggressive side of Majeski, but he sent it up the inside of Gregson on the restart. Got the spot, moved up to fifth, and here we are.
Can you really call it a career day, though, when it's only been one race?
Well, early career day, sure.
I guess. I mean, how do we know that's not going to be common from him, though? It's just... there's what it is. It's certainly early in all of their careers.
Jenkins is going to be there.
Gibbs and Jenkins... Oh, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about sending it in. He's going to send it in, and he's going to be there. And I think that might be enough to also possibly let Jeb Burton think about coming through as well. Actually, Jenkins cleared him.
And Jeb was outside.
And Jeb's going to probably send this deep in here on this outside. And he's going to look to maybe clear him before they get out of this corner. It doesn't look like that's going to get done. As now Bobby Labonte's looking up the inside of Craven. So you've got two wide there for a couple different spots. And now it's going to be... Let's hope that everybody can make it through here. Labonte and Burton get into one another. And the other Burton was a little bit around back there. So let's see if everybody gets going. It does look like Bobby's going to get back out on track, hopefully. So I think Bobby just gets a little bit loose here into the ice corner. Yeah, you can see it there, and there it just continues. And they kind of ride there together, but it does look like, he gets a good bit of damage there, I would assume.
So I don't know what happened to Harrison here. He got loose too.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out too, looking at scoring, Ryan Beat still on racetrack, 19 laps in his stint.
Wow. On the bright side, it does look like Bobby got it going forward, which is good for the keeping cars on track for sure. Yep. And all right, so we'll have to keep an eye on whether or not he pits here. Certainly with quite a bit of damage there.
Yeah, 17 cars left right now.
Are we back live?
Yes.
Okay.
And something happened to Harvick, as he was within a second and is now 2.2 back.
Maybe he also got loose at some point. I don't know at this point.
We'll take a look. There's Barsha still.
It's got to be, go back, I think it's got to be in the hairpin. No. I don't know. I guess Barsha just drove away.
We'll check lap times. 2:08.4 for Barsha, 2:09.9 for Harvick. So yeah, something happened and we missed it. Because I would say that's the slowest lap time Harvick's run all day. As Nadu with a 2:07.8, fastest car on the track. So we'll keep an eye on this front battle here.
Going to be interesting to the end here. As it doesn't look like Bobby's on pit road, but Ryan Beat is.
Yeah, so magic number was 19.
Yep.
So we'll see if Jeffrey comes in. Yep, so magic number is 19.
Like we said, it was a estimated 23. I don't think any of us actually believe that was the actual distance, just what we were being told they possibly could complete. So the battle for the last spot for the stage, because we get to 4 to go, is Jeb Burton versus Harrison Burton. A little bit of cousin battle going on here, as it's Ward's son versus Jeff's son. And as I don't know if we pointed out at Daytona, but for sure, funny enough, they're both driving their dad's numbers.
I believe we touched on it a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see who can get the best of the family battle here for sure.
Yeah, and right now it's Jeb in that DuPont Toyota. He's holding off Harrison in that Monster Energy Ford, but we'll keep an eye on this battle for sure. And who knows? They may both get points. Who knows what's going to happen in front of them?
Yeah, I'm sure we haven't seen the end of the carnage.
I mean, just out of nowhere, Kyle Busch with, I think it was 1 to go or 2 to go, went out of it. So we come to, I believe, 3 to go this time, as Jeb's going to go defensive. And Barsha's going to cross the line. This should be to come to 3 to go. And I don't know if you've seen it, but it does look like Nadu keeps getting a little bit bigger in Harvick's mirror.
Yeah, so they were each a 10th faster than one another. So Barsha 2:08.5, Harvick goes, I'll get you beat, 2:08.4, and then Nadu ups Harvick by a 10th with a 2:08.3.
So we might, well, I don't know that they'll have enough time to catch Barsha, but they may not be out of the woods yet. Let's see.
Right now, they're the only ones in or under the 2:08 mark. As this battle could get interesting as well if they catch up to Majeski and Jarrett Brooks.
Yeah, and I'm surprised these two are battling now. Let yourself run these two down and then get after it. Certainly, you could both get stage points out of this if you're smart here. Obviously, nobody said the AI was, but there's certainly the opportunity for stage points here. And certainly, who knows, those two cars in front of you could just wreck out together. Then not only do you both get stage points, but you get some half-decent stage points.
Which right now, big thing to keep an eye on as well, as the leaders they might catch Pastrana again. But right now, Danica is your first car and only car 1 lap down. And here's Pastrana hitting the I guess we'll call it the backstretch. And here's Barsha. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting whether or not Pastrana can hold on to the lead lap and whether or not Danica gets her lap back, if you would. But it's interesting. It's been an interesting day so far, and I'm enjoying it. It's been a little bit down from the truck race, I think, but certainly the truck race had a few extra cautions in there that we had. It's certainly still been exciting, without a doubt, in all aspects. There's been great racing, weird moments, and a lot of mistakes made by the AI.
So we'll see what the lap times come across here. Barsha with another 6, a 6.84. Harvick again, another 10th with an 8.57. And actually, Nadu pretty much matched Barsha.
Interesting. So, and you could also see fourth place. They have gapped. Jack Moff was 9 seconds behind them, and he's losing time.
It's actually Majeski got around Brooks, I believe.
No, he's been ahead of Brooks.
Okay. Good catch. So we're on 2 to go. This battle's still raging on.
Yeah, and even as it continues to rage on, these two are battling hard. They're still catching both Majeski and Brooks.
Yeah.
Each time we look at them, they're getting closer.
Majeski was an 11.4, Brooks an 11.5, Burton 11.5, and Harrison was 11.4.
So it's roughly around the same for each. It looks like I think somebody locked the tires up there for a second. I saw some smoke there. But there's also a battle going on, I think, through 4th, 5th, and 6th between Moff, Jenkins, and Craven. Craven doing a good job there. And I'll also add in, closing in on the back of Harrison Burton and Jeff Burton. I've kind of been keeping an eye on the gap. It was 7 seconds for a while. It's down to 4, and it just keeps getting closer. I don't know that he's got enough time to catch them, but he's definitely running faster than them.
Oh, he'll be close. See, like I said, they were 11.5, 11.4. He was an 09.2.
So it's going to be interesting, as I think they have caught Brooks. I believe this has gone from 2 different 2-car battles to a 4-car battle.
So we had mentioned Pastrana before as well, and as they're coming to the white flag, I don't think he's gonna be able to hold
on. Well, we'll have to see. He's got 1 lap to do it.
As another 2 tenths clicked off by Harvick. Barsha an 8.9, Harvick an 8.7, and Nadu again another 8.7.
But clicking off tenths is not enough for right now.
Correct.
So
we'll keep an eye on this battle for the stage points.
Yeah, I think this is the most interesting battle we have on track at the moment. For sure. There's 4 cars all around here, and somebody's going to be without a stage point. Somebody's going to get a stage point, and it's just going to be fun to see. And who knows, it might be Bobby Labonte out of nowhere.
And to update again, Pastrana did get lapped, but this has hurt Harvick immensely. As you see Nadu now, right closing in.
So we'll have to see what this means for Stage 3. Stage 3 is definitely going to be, obviously, it's the run to the finish. You're going to have a pit stop in there. It's going to be interesting to see if Bobby can overcome that, as we've got a 3 wide into the hairpin. And just like that, both of the Burton cousins get through. So now both Burtons are getting stage points. Brooks went from getting 2 stage points to getting no stage points. And if they're not too careful, Bobby Labonte might be there. So, an excellent recovery by Bobby Labonte, to say the least, that we can be able to get close to this battle. And an excellent job there in that 3 wide scenario by Burton. To just the balls of that kid to stick that car in there in between Majeski and Brooks into that hairpin like that. That is one of the riskiest moves I think we've seen all week, and that is incredible to see.
So these guys, I'm watching on the track map, Barsha getting close to the line, but I want to keep it on this battle just in case. And Barsha will be your stage winner.
And that should lock these guys in right here. Yep. So it's going to be Harrison Burton, last guy in the stage points, on what had to be one of the most incredible moves I think we've seen all race.
Certainly the ballsiest, for that matter.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly the ballsiest. without a question.
So right now, Harvick, not max points, but
doing pretty well.
Definitely getting the most he could get. Led flag to flag in stage 1. Danica kind of played a factor there in stage 2, but
you have to sit here and remember though as well. Jerry Nadeau was the points leader coming into this race. He's finished, I believe, either 4th or 5th in the first stage, and now 3rd.
He was 4th.
So 4th and a 3rd. He's not going away. To say that Harvick is going to walk out of here the points leader, I don't know. I think it would require Nadeau being out of the race for that to be the case. As far as I think right now, I believe Jerry Nadeau comes out of this race still points leader. So track, once again, cooled off more track temp. It went down 2 degrees. It was 85 the last time we saw this. The winds picked back up. It's up to 9. It's an interesting day here at the Sebring International Raceway.
It's just the one lead change to date so far. So looking at the laps to go, we do know that they will have to pit under green in this final stage.
Oh, absolutely. And I congratulate NASCAR in knowing how to set the stages up to make sure that we at least get one stage with pit stops. I believe that they have moved in the Cup Series to try to get a pit stop in each stage going forward, but I believe our road course races in the Cup Series will not feature that, because I wasn't about to do that math. I don't think you were about to do that math either. And we just did it the easy way. So, although who knows, they might not be able to make the stage without pitting. I think they will. I think it's only going to be 16 laps on stage tomorrow, and if the Xfinity cars can go 19 laps, then I'm sure the Cup cars can go further.
One would guess, yes.
But an excellent job by Justin Barcia. He got ahead of Harvick on the first lap of that stage. Held on, and that's going to be his first stage win of the season, I believe. Because I believe it was
Nadeau and Anderson. So, yeah.
Yep.
So 2 new stage winners today, as team owner Susie not happy with the Gregson incident.
Can't fault him there, if you would. I don't really know. I think that one's a racing incident and a mistake by Gregson for putting his car to the outside of a car that was sideways into a corner where he probably shouldn't have been. I'm not going to say that nobody or Majeski wasn't at fault at all. He obviously got the car loose and stayed in it. But I think when looking at that one, you got to look at it from the perspective that it's probably on both of them there.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you are. I would say it's a racing incident. I think Majeski obviously pushed too hard going to actually the section of the track right here.
Right here, yeah.
And got loose, but again, which obviously AI, but I think Gregson tried to force the issue. Majeski, you got to give room. I mean, yeah, you're going for a spot, but yeah, I was gonna see if it did it on its own, but
yeah, it's great. Wave him.
So
it seemed like it worked out better last time.
All right, he's going already, so that's better than before already.
Well, and I think what happened last time too, especially like yesterday when we waited and I didn't give it. So once the lights go out, all the cars line up on that inside line where he is. So for whatever reason, he wants to go to that line to make a pass, and that causes their own problems. So Danica going to be still a lap down. It's going to be interesting for this restart once more.
And the downfall with that, I was going to say, I wonder if she'll stay out, because she's only been on an 8-lap stint. But looking at where she is, there's no way she gets to the field, even though they will have to go on pit road.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What I'm going to want to follow here is, can Bobby's crew pick him up any spots and help him out on trying to get back a good finish?
It's the best pit crew of the first round.
Without question.
14-9.
Actually, I think. Oh yeah, it was Nadu, and then Gregson's pit crew did a really great job for him. But as we know how that ended.
So here we go.
And I'm not seeing anybody. Good Lord, I think he's doing it again. I know he's far behind. Never mind. I was about to say, I think Beat's staying out again.
He's still trying to get caught up.
Yeah.
So we could see it.
Could, but I don't know that we will. So we'll see. Keep an eye on Barsha and Harvick. And Nadu's crew gets him out before everybody once again. And Harvick's still on pit road. Nadu's going to jump him. And even Moff. Wow. So you have to assume Harvick's going to be fuming at his pit crew. And sure enough, he did.
As Danica just now caught the field. So almost, actually.
But she will not get that chance. So it's going to be
Barsha's crew.
Barsha. Yep. Getting the job done. Then it'll be Nadu.
You can see the stop difference right there.
Ice corner. Oh, good Lord. Harvick's in the ice corner. Oh, my word. He almost did and we've got another one completely off back there.
Harrison.
And he does. Okay, everybody's going to keep going. I was going to say, we did see it in the truck race. That's why I got a little bit concerned there for a moment. We actually saw it in the truck race. Somebody completely lost it, and they both had to tow under caution. I believe it was Senior and, or not Senior, it was two drivers that were doing very well, I think. I know that. I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember either. But as we're looking at the stops,
I think it was Rowdy and somebody.
Yeah.
So.
Harvick's crew, 18.2.
Oof.
Actually, Bobby's crew at 19.0. Harrison at 20.4.
So he did get a spot out of that. So good for him.
Hibbs at 22.4 on pit road.
Wow. Looks like Jeb's pit crew got him out at least right where he was. I think Majeski's pit crew lost time more so.
17.9, yes. Burton 17.5, Majeski 17.9.
There's enough. Jarrett Brooks getting a couple spots there. So there's some interesting. But obviously, as we all know,
no go.
Add that one extra lap there. And I think it looks like once again Beat is ahead of where he should be. Because he was still on track. Yeah, he's going to let. Looks like Jenkins by. It looks like maybe he did beat out Jeb Burton based on the fact that they're kind of even. And well, there's Danica.
Which I think right now, if you're Nadu, you have to take notes from what Barsha did to Harvick on that last restart and almost use it against him.
Yeah, and if you can get cleared early enough, the way that Barsha did. I think Barsha, though, was actually behind even Nadu on that last restart. I believe he was third or fourth. So you might actually look at even Harvick taking notes on what Barsha did last time and trying to put it to good use. But certainly, I think the driver that has to stand out in my mind is the biggest surprise up here is Jack Moth.
Yeah, definitely unexpected. It'll be interesting to see once we get back green here what can happen. And I'll be the first one to say it. Again, obviously I'm watching timing and scoring, but I was surprised Harvick and Nadu couldn't get back to Barsha.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if they can through this final stage, because I think we're only going to have something like 20-some laps, I think.
I can pull this up and we can Yeah, 24. Yeah. So 2 stages essentially.
Yep, and more importantly, pit stops.
This is all under the impression that we get through the first set of corners.
Well, that is true too.
So I want to take a look here real quick, see if Pastrana's going to pit this time. No.
Nope. So he's going to stay out, and that means that he might catch the field.
He should. Here,
Might, should, you know.
The field's in the hairpin.
So we got a big stack up there.
And he's just now entering turn 1, so he should. But thing to point out, though, again, Ryan Beat stays out. He's on 7 laps this time, so not as bad. Jeffrey Earnhardt, not been a factor, but he's on 7 laps as well. And then Pastrana is 13 and Danica is 10.
Where it's going to be interesting is following along with Beat again. How many cars he can keep behind him. Because we saw what happened with Snoop Dogg. He managed to keep enough cars behind him, and then he came out on fresh rubber, was able to get a big enough gap, and by the time that the guys had caught him once more when he was on old tires versus their new tires, there just wasn't enough time for them to get around him. So we'll see if the same thing happens today, or if even somebody just decides we're not going to take it again. They watched what happened and said, no, I'm not going to see that. So, wind has died down. Track temp is even down an extra degree from when the caution flew. So, just a cold January day. Certainly the track's not baking like it would later in the year. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's helping race it, if you would.
I think that ice corner, as we've been calling it, would be a little more treacherous.
That ice corner would be ice corner, for sure.
Pastrana going to be way closer than last time, but he is not going to catch the field.
Nope, it's not looking like it as he's coming through. This is not Le Mans.
He's got one more set of corners.
Yep, this is
they are in the first part of the bend. So he'll be on the straightaway, but that's about it. So he's there, and like I said, here are your leaders. So we're going to stay in the NORA blimp again, as it provided a good angle for the last time. And we'll see what happens here.
I think it's going to provide an even better angle this time. Green flag. Camera pointed at Harvick. Danica gets another great jump, and Jack Moff with the jump as well. But Harvick's looking to his inside. Who's going to get it done here? Because this is going to be huge for them going forward. It's going to be Harvick as Moff gets into Nadu. Moff gets into Nadu. They're still into one another. Moff is going to go around. Moff all by himself is around. And it looks like both Jeb Burton and Bobby Labonte are going to come forward. They're going to try and get as many positions as they can on that inside again. Harvick up forward.
Bobby around.
Bobby is around. Will he be able to get going again? He's going to sit here.
No?
And he is going to go. So Bobby Labonte.
There's Pastrana. So Moff back to 14th. And a big thing for Harvick is he is now clear of Danica. As everybody else is clear of Danica as well. And Ryan Beat holding 6th right now.
With the exception of her teammate, who now has to clear her.
I think I hear somebody off again.
Ease.
Nope, I was just hearing things. Okay.
Danica's now going to look to let Brooks and Majeski by. And you could already see how quickly Jeb Burton caught Ryan Beat as he's going to look to the inside into this corner.
Uh-oh.
As Danica, she's
hangs
okay.
on to it.
I think she's the first person I think we've seen hang on to that. Jeb didn't clear Ryan Beat there, so we'll see. I think he'll get him through Almond straight, and actually he's looking even now. He says, listen, I don't want to wait personally.
I got tires. I want to go. So here he goes. The first pass you've seen into this corner, I believe.
Yeah, into Le Mans, and he's going to get it done with ease. Wow. So I don't think we've seen anybody make that corner and make it with ease as he did, and you could just see the difference in tires even on a straightaway. What those tires will do for you. As Jeb Burton is cleared, and now here comes Majeski, and looks like even Harrison as well. Majeski backed out of it.
I just want to point out something here too. Barsha held the lead, something Harvick couldn't do. Harvick went 3 wide and then passed Danik on the outside going into the 2. His lap was still better than Barsha. Barsha, a 2:06. Okay, never mind. Now it updated. Okay, so never mind. I was wrong. Time and scoring, playing games with me as Ryan B continues to fall.
But he's going to be on the inside here, which is going to help him
through the ice corner.
Maybe hold, yeah, at least through the ice corner. As you could see, even as we say that, Majeski is sideways, and there goes Cooper Webb getting sideways as well. So, and I want to see what kind of recovery that Bobby can get out of that. Certainly, he's got a lot more time than he had the last time, and you saw the recovery he got out of that. But you were talking about career days for people, as he does have a lot more damage this time. But we mentioned career days for drivers. Jeb Burton sitting in 6th. He is sideways.
You almost jinxed it.
He is not really one of the best drivers out here in the field. I think he is a little bit better than Majeski in terms of skill rating. So it's certainly not where I think I would picture him being for the majority of the race, but he's getting the job done. He's holding on to it, and you can see Bobby Labonte is not out of a top 10 finish. For those that are Bobby Labonte fans,
he's gaining on Moff as Moff, went off as well. So we'll have to see.
That was incredible that he didn't hit a soul where he spun. Spun coming out of turn 1 on that straightaway. It is incredible that car stayed where it did and he didn't hit anything. That could have been huge.
I just want to look up front, as this gap was, I believe, 7/10 last time by, and it just read 2. It says 3 right now, but Harvick
is there
charging to the front. Barsha a 2:07.2, Harvick a 2:06.8, fastest car on the racetrack, and he is now on the bumper of Barsha for the lead.
So we call him the closer. It's getting to about that point of the race-ish. We're going to see if he can get the job done and prove, again, why we call him the closer. He did it last week for sure. I think last week was where we saw his other nickname, Mr. Where Did He Come From?
Yes.
This week looks like it might be the closer coming out. And I think Bobby did, in fact, get around Moth.
He did.
So Bobby coming forward, and that's incredible to see out of even a car with a little bit of, I think, left front damage. Yeah. And he's going to look to the outside of his... Ooh, his teammate actually just about blocks him into that corner. I'm surprised from that out of Danica as a lap car. And now she's going to let him go. So I'm a little bit surprised out of that. They both... and, maybe a little bit of that old adage that you don't have a green race car. It doesn't really suit you well sometimes. Maybe that came into play for Bobby. He didn't have the luck today. But, he certainly never shied away from having a green race car. Back when he ran the Cup Series back in 2000, back then. I don't think he's shying away from it now. And I think, Harvick, he's on Barsha, but that means he's going to be battling with Barsha. And what's going to happen when he starts battling with Barsha? Well, you could see these 3 Susie machines. They're going to come forward. They're going to get closer and closer and closer, and it's going to be Chevy versus Ford.
Yeah, Ford has dominated, I would say, this entire week so far. Obviously, besides GT4, but I think they led just about all the laps in the truck race, and they have led every lap today so far. As I believe we have 21 to go. I know iRacing scoring sometimes throws me off, but Barsha definitely feeling the pressure. Last stage got out front, did not have to deal with the pressure, and I wouldn't even say just from Harvick, as Nick just mentioned it, the whole Susie Motorsports clan rolling into this battle, sorry. And they are more so here now than they were even just a couple corners ago. So we head towards the hairpin. Nobody close enough to make a move just yet. So I'm trying to keep an eye on time and scoring, because I believe Barsha seems to be better through the technical stuff. we saw it yesterday in the truck race. The leader was a little bit better through the technical stuff like they're in right now. And the guy in second was better on, more so the straightaways, obviously, because of draft. But I think you're seeing the same thing right now.
And we'll have to see how it holds up. It definitely looks like Harvick not holding well there. And I said it. They start battling, and it's no longer just a 2-car breakaway at the front here.
It'll be interesting. I've kind of touched on it all week. It seems like you can get to the person, but once you get a lap or two in, them tires lose, I guess you'll say, the freshness. There really isn't a lot of passing. I think you saw it with Harvick. He ran him down, like I said, I think it was about a second. Ran him down in that first lap, and now he's kind of just stayed right at this, 4/10 to 6/10 of a bubble, kind of.
Yeah, and certainly I think if he can stay there, that's good for him because we do have pit stops still to come. And I think Bobby is now looking at Cooper Webb for 11th. He got around Ryan Beat, it looks like. So that little bit of a redemption arc there, if you would, to try to get back into the top 10 is certainly going well for him, as it looks like it's Harrison Burton trying to get around Jarrett Brooks. And you could see from that, while Jeb is losing time to the leaders, he is pulling away from these two.
It's actually, Barsha was 0.2 faster that lap with a 2:08.4 to Harvick's 2:08.6, but all three of the Susi Motorsports Chevys, 2:07.9 from Nadu, 2:07.8 from Craven, and a 2:08.1 from Leroy. So all of them faster than the leaders that last time by as we hit 20 to go.
Yep, and there's plenty of time, plenty of pit stops to make, just the one. That's enough. And you can see Bobby's on that back bumper of Cooper Webb. He's going to send it again. That is the third time this race that Bobby has put that car in there the wrong way and just gotten it loose. So that one I think you're going to put on me. Commentator's curse is we got a 4-car battle, double file through the hairpin, and everybody's going to make it through safe.
Which I'm going to take a look, because this battle was not even a battle, and then all of a sudden, there's 4 cars battling.
How far? I think it's just because of how long they were side by side.
Yeah, so I believe we were on board with Harrison here, because I remember seeing this part.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Harrison holds it. That's one of actually the better exits we've seen from the outside line there. I actually cleared him. Jarrett goes back up the inside. Burton all over the curb as we go through the ice corner. Little slip.
And he gets a slip, but so does Brooks.
Oh!
Oh! Okay.
Well, there it was.
I don't know what that was, but that was a door. So that's... have we seen that all week? I don't think I've seen anybody... No, that was just a straight turn to the left.
And he even got the run.
I'm in shock.
And then
we've just seen the AI just try to wreck one another, if you were.
As we go back live, he's started to pull away from Brooks, and Majeski and Hibbs are still battling.
And now Bobby's
trying to recover.
Yep, he's now trying to recover again. I love every time they come by, they actually they mess with that cone.
Yeah, I saw that. I've noticed that too.
That's kind of cool. As Cooper Webb's now kind of catching these two because they're battling the way they are. And Lord, let's stay with this because we know side by side through this section of the track doesn't work well. And it's not going to work for Majeski. He's going to lose that spot, and now he's going to be at the mercy of maybe Bobby Labonte.
So back up front real quick. Out of your top 5, Nadu with an 8.202 quickest, Harvick a 2.14, Barsha a 3.18, Craven a 3.36, and Leroy with a 6.23. So I believe a mistake probably right there a little bit from Leroy. But your second and third place cars right now faster than your leader. But like I said, it's almost like there's a bubble. They just can't get through.
And without a question, they are pulling away from Harrison Burton and Jeb Burton.
Yeah, right now, not many battles. I would say your closest is actually this whole pack right here. Maybe Jack Moff with Labani, but still a good 7/10 gap right there. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this is the best battle, but certainly I think we'll be seeing pit stops with about, I think, 5 to go.
we are halfway on this run coming this time by. This will be lap 8 on the stint when they cross the line.
Well, never mind. So that's lap 8. Well,
yeah, because they're on 7 right now, so this will be 8 right here.
so that'd be 11 more laps. So about 8 to go.
Which, if you're Harvick, and it's kind of, I'll say it's ironic, and you can, agree to disagree, but I think we're seeing the same thing in the AI season as we see in real life. His pit crew lets him down.
Yeah, it's almost like the AI said, "Oh, this guy's name's Harvick. You get a bad pit crew."
Yeah, which team owner
didn't get through that corner well, and he's a little bit sideways through there.
Oh, he's pushing.
I think it's going to be really interesting because it seems like they're getting sideways through areas where there's even a lot of rubber now. I think they're starting to get to that point where there's too much rubber.
It's very possible. It's actually your top 2 and Leroy, the only ones in the top 5s in a 208. Barsha a 208.8, Harvick a 208.9, Leroy a 208.9, and then Nadu and Craven both at 091s. Very identical lap times there, but
they're still on the bumpers, so they're still there. If you would. So, I think interesting finish here coming up. It's going to be anything can happen. Certainly, nobody should expect to see Gregson on the tires. Nobody expected to see Kyle Busch spin out of the race the way he was. It's been interesting in many ways this whole race. Tomac out of the race.
Cooper Webb
is now out of the race. So see what happened there. Looks like he overshot the corner on his own.
And again, I'll put this under the one of the weird DNFs.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but something also happened to Ty Majeski. Because, and the 61. Where'd the 61 go?
Pit road.
For what?
He was one of the later, one of the guys that stayed out.
Did he?
I believe so. Pretty sure.
I didn't think he was. But also, what happened to Majeski?
Because all is on pit road.
And so is Leroy?
Yes.
All right, so I think we're seeing pit strategy, maybe.
I think it's more so for damage, because same thing with Jarrett. He was in his box for 1:25. Leroy's already been in for 30 seconds, and Harrison the same way. So I think we're seeing damage getting fixed.
And it has to be damaged to a point that it's critical, I would assume.
Beats me.
Because for them to have stayed out as long as they have and then just pit, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, we say it all the time, AI.
I mean, I agree, but I still don't make any sense. I still want to know what happened to Majeski because he was inside of the top 10 in front of Hibbs and Labani and 61. And a few guys that now you could see Hibbs and Labani are 6th and 7th.
As Jenkins is now off pit road, 57 seconds. Burton also leaving at 52.
It does look like they did get damage fixed.
I know Burton had front end damage. I believe
he still got
Jenkins did as well.
He definitely did. He had some rear end damage too, and that car looks brand new almost. If you would, that car definitely looks better. As Barsh is going to look to the inside of Pastrana. Oh my God! I thought Harvick was about to kill that man.
This is going to be an interesting battle. We saw it in the trucks. Everybody kind of pitted together. Then it came down to pit crews. So I wonder if we'll see the same thing here today.
I almost have to wonder if then, because of the damaged pit stops, is Harvick's going to look to send this up the outside.
And he actually got a good exit.
And he's going to challenge on the outside now. We'll see what's going to happen out of this.
He's there.
This hasn't been good when you come into that corner a little bit off kilter. But he manages to hold on to it, and even Craven manages to hold on the outside. So,
I just want to point out, as if this is real NORA, this would get a lot of drivers upset. We have a lapper battling the leaders trying to get a lap back the hard way.
Yeah, and certainly this late in the race it would get a lot of people upset. And I could understand why it would get you upset, and especially somebody like Craven being fuming at this point. I get you're on fresh tires, but you're still apparently slower. If you would, that's just I don't understand it. But there is not much we can really do with the AI when they decide to make these decisions.
And I would have to argue too the whole damage thing too. I mean, granted, like you said, I guess it had to be
critical. It had to be something that was going to end up with them blowing a motor or something.
But you almost have to question too, though, because Jenkins was still running 5th at the time, and I think Harrison was 6th.
Yeah, no, Harrison was 7th. He was behind Jeff. It was Burton and then Burton.
Okay, but we said 19 laps. Oh, actually, they can make it.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, that's why I thought it might be strategy, but with as long as they had for a pit stop, it had to be for damage.
Well, yeah, it was definitely damaged. Like I said, 57.2 for Leroy and 52.8 for Harrison. So I would argue that's going to take away the strategy aspect as far as a win, but you never know.
Well, correct. And if in the case of what it was, as you can see, I think Leroy's only 6 seconds off Jeffrey in 11th, yes. So he could still get a decent finish out of this. For sure. I don't know that he's going to be able to finish where he was running. Same goes for Harrison. I think they might sneak it back into the top 10. Both of them. They might finish 9th and 10th. Possibly. It'll depend on how long those guys are on for pit road. But
which I was just looking at. And I would say the minimum time that I've seen under caution is about 41.8 seconds. And that's just 4 tires, fuel, in your box, go. So really, your gap would want to be, 40 seconds or so.
Right. Depending on how long they're going to take in their box, but you can't guarantee that. So going with whatever the lowest is the safe bet.
Which I just put the ticker to the gap so we can keep an eye on it. Right now, 1:19 back, so about, I believe it'd be 30 seconds or so, 40 seconds maybe. So we'll keep an eye on it, obviously on fresher tires, but because you got to point out too, Ryan Beat and Jeffrey Earnhardt do still have to pit, which Leroy is actually about to make a pass on Earnhardt.
Yep. So and he's on fresher tires too. So wow.
Yeah, fresher tires, a full 10 seconds faster. Earnhardt a 2:17. Leroy a 2:06.
Earnhardt is just gonna, do that. He's just gonna do that. So Barsha's starting to get defensive, and once they start getting defensive, the battle's coming. Here comes Nadu too. This is where it's getting interesting. It's 3 cars. It's Harvick, Nadu, and Barsha. And any one of them could win. It was 4 cars, but certainly Brooks is, kind of ruined that, if you would. And this is going to be a good run here off for Harvick, as he almost doesn't clear Nadu. I don't think he is going to clear Nadu. I think Nadu is going to be able to stick his nose in there and possibly get second out of this, as he does. And this could be dangerous for both of them. We know how this corner is for these guys. They both kind of make it through here. And Nadu clears them. So Harvick back to 3rd. And now you have, like you said, the moment that would kind of piss a lot of guys off. Here comes Brooks now
They're going to go 3.
doing the stupidest thing I've ever seen from anybody. That's a lap down,
That's going
completely
to cost
screwing
Harvick
Kevin
3rd.
Harvick.
And this is all Barsha needs right here.
Yeah,
Now he's got the biggest gap he's had this whole stage.
It's not just Harvick that Brooks just screwed. It's Nadeau as well.
As Harvick's going to get back to the inside of Craven.
I can't believe what I just saw for a lap car in the middle of the lead pack guys this late in the race.
Just to point out in the back, Harrison Burton has now cleared Jeffrey Earnhardt, so they're coming through. As remember, I told you the gap was, I think, 121-ish?
Mm-hmm. It's going to close.
118.
Yeah, it's going to close, for sure, before these guys pit. I think they're on lap 14. I think they'll pit with about 7 or 8 laps to go.
Yeah, right now they're on lap 12, so coming to 13.
Yeah, so they're getting close, but it's gonna be interesting. I think certainly either way you look at it, career day for Jeb Burton. I think he's had a great day. Matthew Hibbs having a great day as well. Certainly some names up there that you're not going to really see on a regular basis inside the top 10, which is kind of fun to see. I think that's why, as Brooks, it looks like finally just decides I'm just going to let Craven by, maybe. Or not. I don't know. He's done so much damage to the lead pack at this point. It's just honestly a little bit ridiculous, if you would.
Which, I mean, again, we've seen both sides of it from the AI. You know, sometimes they move, and sometimes it works out, yeah, like that, to where, you know, you're on fresh tires, and they obviously don't know better.
I mean, 3 wide, just ridiculous. This is Pastrana out of the race.
Yep, stuck in the tires.
And that's just going to be overcooked it. And I can make it. No, I can't.
Pretty much.
And the definition of insanity. Let's just keep trying. As actually, I do think those tires were trying to go backwards. So it does look like Ryan Beat has hit pit road. We knew that was going to have to happen.
Yep.
He was out there for quite a long time. So we'll see. I think both Leroy and Harrison ought to clear him before he gets off.
Yeah, he basically just hit his box. He's in there for 8 seconds now. So Leroy definitely clear.
I think Harrison will clear as well. This is going to take him a moment to get off pit road, too.
He's leaving his box.
He just left, and there goes Harrison.
So 4 laps on their tires. Let's see if they can hold on. As Leroy down to 116 to the leaders now. So there's 15 cars left, 13 on the lead lap.
For him, it's going to be about gaining at least back to 5th place where he was running. If he can manage that, I'd call that a great job by Leroy. But I think he might have to settle for a top 10. I don't know that he's going to be able to squeak out that top 5, get that gap closed enough by pit stops. And then, of course, at that point, you're running on old tires. When this race comes to a close, he's going to be on pretty much no fuel and the oldest tires on the track.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you could see the difference that he's had over the older tires. Being on the fresh tires that he has been on, he's been able to lay down some incredible laps in comparison to some slower laps. And he's taken off time. But that's going to flip as soon as these guys pit. He's going to be on 10 or 11 lap old tires, I think. And these guys are going to be on brand new fresh rubber. So
real quick, that last time by, fastest car on the track, Leroy, 207.7. Harrison Burton, 208.3. And Ricky Craven, also a 208.3. Harvick,
which is incredible from him up front.
208.9. And then your leaders, Barsha, 209.2. Nadeau 209.3, and you're seeing Harvick slowly reel in Nadeau.
Yep, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen, because certainly both Harvick and Nadeau can run down Barsha. I think there's no reason they can't. And you get some fresh tires on those cars. It's going to be a fun little battle to the end.
So we're approaching 10 to go.
And I believe you just switched to it. Bobby Labonte catching Matthew Hibbs. I don't think he's going to have a chance to go run down his teammate, but he's looking to get everything he can, and certainly a great recovery, if you would, out of Bobby Labonte. I mean, he had some help from some guys pitting, some incidents there, but to be up to 7th after being completely sideways, getting the damage he did on, I think, 3 different occasions, I'd call this a great job by him, and even a great job by Matthew Hibbs. I don't want to overlook anybody. I think Matthew Hibbs, not a really high, well, I guess he's 92. That's certainly a decent rating, but it's still a great run by Matthew Hibbs. I think he didn't have a great Daytona. He did win a stage, but I think his end didn't go quite as well. I think he finished towards the back in that one.
Well, they say consistency wins championships, and this is a start.
Yeah, and to point that out, like you said, consistency wins championships. Well, the most consistent driver the first 2 races so far is Jerry Nadeau. Certainly Harvick with the win, he's been up front. That's consistency. But Nadeau, with excellent finishes in both stages, I believe the last time with a 5th and a 10th, so he did at least finish in the stage both times. That was where Harvick failed. No stage points in either in Daytona. And then obviously Nadeau also led the second most laps, so he had a great race. He's very consistent so far this season, and he very well could be hoisting the championship trophy at the end of the year.
And again, I'm gonna kind of bring it up. Oh, excuse me. I think when we get into a run, it's hard to pass unless you have a lap car that kind of uses a pick. You're seeing it here again. Harvick almost half a second faster than Nadeau the last lap. Nadeau ran an 09.5, Harvick an 09.1. But you can see it's like they get into that bubble and you just can't pop it, so to speak.
Yeah, and I don't think it'd be too much different at any of the other road courses per se. I think that's just kind of the nature of the beast of the road courses with the AI. I don't think they're as aggressive as humans would be. And even if they had 100% aggressiveness, I still don't think they'd be as aggressive as humans might be and make some passes that, may or may not work. It's just kind of the way it is. It's certainly that neither one of these guys haven't had the runs at it. I know I've seen these two side by side even a couple times, so they've certainly had chances at it. It just hasn't been enough.
So they are now on lap 16 of this run. So unless we see a short pit strategy, you're 3 laps. Well, technically 4, I guess, but 4 laps away from pit stops. And right now,
it's I don't know how much is going to change. Certainly, pit stops could change everything. Let's to say the least. But if Nadeau and Harvick keep battling it out, they might let Barsha get far enough away that pit stops aren't going to change that.
Yeah, unless something dramatic happens. But even then, I mean, and the only reason I brought up the point of maybe holding each other up and stuff is I'm just looking at the gap. And it was right around a second. Now you're down to 2. And Harvick, what had been clicking off faster lap times, but at that time they were even at 209.7. So Barsha 209.5. So right there, you're losing 0.2.
Yeah, and it's what's going to happen when you start battling. And certainly, I think they are pushing each other as hard as they can. And I think where they lost a lot of time on this lap was through the ice corner. I believe I saw both Nadeau and Harvick both get sideways through that corner. So anytime you start pushing too hard and you start getting sideways, is now even, it looks like that gap's coming down a little bit through the rest of the lap, though. Nadeau kind of closing a little bit on Barsha.
Which, it's almost, I think it's obviously AI programming and stuff, but I think obviously we've seen, you battle, you lose a lot of time. I wouldn't even say a little, but a lot. And I think Harvick, not really necessarily backed off, but backed off in sense of, the gap. And it's allowed Nadeau to quote unquote, focus on himself, so to speak, and, put in good lap times.
Yeah, and if Nadu can do that, then we could still see a battle for the lead. Here we know it was coming towards the end of the second stage, and certainly we'll have to see what happens when they all get fresh tires too, because fresh tires could be a huge factor, and especially with cold tires. NASCAR doesn't do tire warmers. Those tires now, given NASCAR tires, also I'm pretty sure heat up a lot faster than road tires. As we know from our little stint in the 12-hour. Cold tires, not a lot of fun on road courses.
No.
So we'll have to see, but certainly I don't know if they heat up enough by the time they get to the ice corner, and we could see some strange things happen when they get to the ice corner on cold tires.
Well, I mentioned it. Harvick kind of backed up, let Nadu run his lines. They ran down a little bit, 3/10 right now in the interval. But even lap time, Barsha 09.579, Nadu of 4.47.
And I believe Nadu's lap would have been a little bit better had they not gotten as loose as they did through the ice corner.
It seems like Barsha's better through this back part of the track, because like I said, it was down to 1.7 and it quickly hit 1.9. But again, just that quick, back down to 1.7.
Yeah, and I think this is Nadu's portion right here. He seems to run very well through this final technical section. I've seen him a couple times getting onto the Allman Straight at a 1.6 even, and it does look like Bobby got around Matthew Hibbs. So that's going to be Hibbs sent it a little wide, little loose there, and Bobby just says, "Well, if you're going to give me the opportunity, I'll stick it in there." And looks like, just clears him there. He's away. And he cleared Jeffrey, so they're now clear through there. Bobby Labonte up to 6 with a great recovery race here. But it's going to be the question, is he within the range that, as here it comes, they're coming for their pit stops?
So we were wrong. This is actually lap 17 they're coming in.
So that's interesting to note that they're going to come in a little early here. We'll have to keep an eye on what Jeb Burton does here and whether or not he decides to maybe stay out and lead a lap.
Well.
No, he's going to come.
So first one in his box
and
will be Nadu.
Yep, should sound about right. And it looks like Bobby's coming.
Everybody's coming.
Yep. Oop, I think I just saw Harrison hit the wall, and it looks like Nadu is going to get out first. Nadu looks like he gained some time, though. He looks closer.
Because we have a new leader. He will have to pit, but lap 18, Jack Moff.
The question, though, is will he be able to hold that until he gets around? And I think if he's going to pit, he's not going to get a lap led.
So interesting to note again, Harvick's crew, I mentioned it, just like real life, another 18.2 pit stop.
And
Nadu at 15.4.
I'm wondering if Leroy's going to get out in front of Bobby in that.
It's going to be close. Might get Hibbs as well.
I think he's going to maybe end up behind Bobby. Well, no, he's going to clear. Well, no, he's not. And I think that's going to actually probably let Bobby get in front of him with fresh tire. Well, no, Leroy's going to send that up the inside and hold on to it.
So now we're talking about pit stops. Ty Majeski's crew, a 20-second stop.
Oof.
Actually allows Harrison Burton to get back in the top 10. But so the gap right now for Moff, 0.8, which is actually 0.4 now.
And I don't, but you know who this could be huge and beneficial for? Jerry Nadu. If Moff can hold him up, then Nadu will be there with a challenge even.
So I mentioned Harvick's pit crew. Craven, a 17.5. So essentially, 2 seconds lost to Nadu at least, and a second and a half to Barsha, and you're seeing it on track right now.
And you can see also here what being held up by slower race cars looks like, as Barsha's not just going to get held up by Moff, it looks like, but also Jeffrey.
We're going to be 3.
And we're going to be 3 wide through here. That's
Barsha's going to clear.
And Nadu had a little bit of a struggle getting around Earnhardt into there. And he even has to brake there because Moff had to brake it into pit road. So it looked like it might be helpful for Nadu. It turns out it actually, I think, hurt him.
And actually, even with that, he still had a 0.6 of a second better outlap. You can see it on the interval. That gap was 1.8. It is now 1.2.
Well, and I guess it didn't hurt him as much as I thought it might have.
I think it did, though. Because, like you said, the lapper and then having a break for Moff to get onto pit road, definitely did slow him up. As
Craven's completely, he saves it. He's going to keep going as Moff is on pit road. And Bobby getting under fire from Hibbs. He wants to try to get around Jenkins as well. Jenkins certainly on the older tires. Neither one of these two, whether it be Hibbs or Labonte, want to stick behind him for too long.
As I mainly wanted to check on Leroy to see if he would clear Moff, which he did. It's right now back up to 6th, but you got to imagine both Labonte and Hibbs will clear.
Well, Jenkins doing what he can to hold them off for sure. But this is also exactly what Jeb wants to see for his chance to maybe finish 5th, as I think we're going to be 3 wide here.
And we are.
Who's going to clear out through here? None of them are going to really give too much away. And it's going to cycle through the same way they were. So this might be the best battle on track for probably to the end of the race even. Just because it's that tire difference. The 2 cars behind him are just on better tires, and certainly they're going to get chances. But it's going to be whether or not they can get it done. As Bobby's going to look at it here, he's going to send it to the inside, but I don't think there's enough to get that done in that corner. So still can't get it done. This is just great racing from all 3 of these drivers. All done job by Leroy holding steady, Bobby on running as well as he can, and Matthew Hibbs for trying to take advantage of any situation that comes up.
As the cameras were on this battle, as Labonte gets a little loose under braking, kind of watching the gaps up front. It depends on the section of the racetrack. Nadu and Harvick both gain a little bit, and then they lose. They'll gain it a little bit back, then they lose again. So I think as Labonte sends it on the outside, looks like he's going to clear Leroy.
He's going to do a great job there. He does, in fact, on an incredible move. I don't know that we've seen that in either race, the truck or this race, anybody make a move around the outside of that corner and make it stick that way. Just an incredible move by Bobby Labonte to get the job done. And now Matthew Hibbs on fresh tires is now going to be on the assault of Leroy as well. Certainly wants to get by him on his older tires. He's going to send it a little wide, get a little loose there. And Hibbs was almost there. Hibbs not going to be there. Hibbs going to be loose, but managed to hold it on.
So I just want to point out, Jerry Nadu, and actually Barsha for that matter, both pushing as hard as they have all race. They both just set their best laps of the race. Barsha 206.357, Nadu at 206.282. And as you see, Harvick has left Craven as well.
But also Harvick is, well, not really closing.
Yeah, he was a 206.6, so about 0.3 off of Barsha. But Nadu closing the gap down to 0.8.
He wants this W. He wants the first win for Chevy. Chevy without a win so far this season in either series, or any of them, I believe.
I forget who won the 500, but you could be right, yes.
No, Chevy did win the 500 because it was Vettel.
Okay. So look at the times that they come through again, and this was, whew, a 207.0 for Barsha, a 206.6 for Nadu. We mentioned Harvick, and it's almost like he decided to turn the dial up a little bit more. A 206.5, fastest out of the top 3.
So when push comes to shove, we're getting the best out of the field.
So I'll see if I can pop this up real quick, and I can. It'd be a little weird looking at it, but you can see Nadu Best lap of the race, 206.2.
Yep. 206.3 for Barsha. And a 206.5 for both Harvick and Craven.
So that gap is closing down to 0.6 for Nadu. But again, I think Barsha's better through this back half of the track as he pulled it to 0.7 right there.
But that gap is closing. I think Nadu is better through a lot of the rest of the track, and that's going to help him through those sections for sure. As you could just see, the rubber on the track is getting really darker in certain areas, and that's going to play a big factor tomorrow. But for right now, that's playing a little bit of a factor, I would say. These guys are not able to run maybe the lines they want to anymore.
It'll be interesting for sure tomorrow. Obviously, from what we know, full field, no go home yet, but we'll look obviously in preparation for tomorrow. But you gotta wonder, did anybody that just joined the Discord, fill out a Cup team, give us another go home situation, and it'll be interesting for sure. I know. Kind of get sidetracked for a second, we had another testing for our 87 Daytona 500 for next week, and I will say I am excited for that one as well.
Absolutely, I can't wait for that race. It's going to be so much fun. I love those cars, and going to hopefully go out and win that one for my team.
It's going to be a long one, that's for sure. But so actually, everybody slowed down. They're all in 207s. Harvick a 207.2, Nadu a 207.3, Barsha a 207.4.
And you could also see on the gap there, I don't know that we really need to go to the battle, but Bobby, 3 seconds. He's already gapped Leroy by. That's the difference between old and new tires. And Leroy holding on to 7th. He's doing what he can to get the best finishing position he is. But certainly this lead battle as well is going. No, it's getting tight. It's getting to the end here.
And it'll be interesting to note, I've touched on it. I don't think it's necessarily a road course thing. I think it's, which again, we'll have to wait for the intermediates, actually next week, kind of, for Homestead. But to see, if my assumption is indeed correct, I think, like I said, you get a couple laps in the tires, the AI just can't seem to make passes. But again, we'll have to wait and see for next week. But I think for the time being, I'm going to stick with that statement.
And I'd argue that's a pretty accurate statement. That's what it's kind of seemed like so far here at Sebring. Daytona is just a different beast in its own right, to say the least, and it doesn't speak a lot of volumes for a lot of the tracks. This gap just continues to get closer. They're coming through Le Mans on the Almond Straight, and I would argue that Nadu, you can see Barsha goes defensive because he knows if he stays out there, Nadu had the draft.
And you got to wonder, I would say even right here, if Nadu can just get alongside, Harvick is going to be licking his chops. We've seen how much just even a corner of side-by-side can slow you down.
And even that, even being defensive, the way that Barsha just was, can really hurt you. And I think it's already showed. I think Harvick already cleared almost 5/10.
Yeah, it was, I think, a 2.1. It's already 1.6. And even lap time-wise, Nadu 208.1, Barsha 208.4, Harvick a 207.6, as we might have a battle here getting into the corner.
They're going to look at it. I don't think Nadu's really going to have a great shot at that one there, but he's opening the door certainly for Harvick to get back in this. And, well, we said that he did it at Daytona, but where did he come from on this one? Because he certainly wasn't in it just about 3 laps ago.
We're going to go defensive again. If Nadu can get to his left rear, we could see a pass. He's there. Harvick, though,
is going to stick his nose in there. He's not going to be able to get the job done. They're going to cycle through the way they were through that corner. But with 3 laps to go, this thing is far from over for any of these.
This is where Barsha's been better, but again, goes defensive. Harvick stays in line with Nadu as they, I would assume, somewhat stack up there. And even look at the gap back to Craven. It was 10 seconds, I would say a lap ago, 7.4.
Well, even a lap ago, I believe the gap back to Jeb Burton was 30 seconds. And it's now 23. So it changes a lot when you start getting into these battles.
Nadeau's going to need a good run here in these last couple corners set up for the straightaway, because I think, again, if Barcia goes defensive, we've seen it. We saw it with Labani, granted a lot fresher tires, but you can carry that momentum and you get a huge run.
And Harvick's going to stick with Nadeau. This is going to open up an opportunity possibly for him. I don't think Nadeau is going to have a run to really get to this outside here. I think he needed to be a little bit closer.
Oh, he was there.
Wrong. He is going to be there.
Still
and this
there.
Is also going to open the door maybe for Harvick to even clear him now.
Now, yeah, Harvick is there. 2 to go. You got to wonder, though, how much is this going to kill these two trying to make a run back to Barcia?
Well, they're going to make a run side by side to Barcia and go into this corner pretty well. Harvick's now going to be challenging for the lead maybe on the exit of this corner. And he's not, as they're still going to be side by side going through here. And Barcia's still defensive. So even while they're battling, because Barcia's going defensive, he's hurting his own time. So Harvick to second, and now he's going to try to get after
Nadeau loose.
Nadeau gets sideways through there. That might be Nadeau's race, although, you know, Harvick and Barcia could start battling, and now he's back in it, so who knows? As Craven's down to 6 seconds.
5 seconds for that matter. We get one more decent battle. We might have a 4-car battle for the win. I would say with about a lap and a half to go. Harvick, we'll have to see. I know that lap, again, lap time-wise, Barcia a 2:10.3, Nadeau a 2:10.2, Harvick a 2:08.9, and even to better that, Craven a 2:08.0.
And Barcia continues to go defensive. Every time that they start getting defensive, they're losing their own time there.
You see Craven in the picture.
Yeah, Craven's getting bigger and bigger. Every time you get defensive, you're going to be a lot slower. So you're not able to hit the apex of the corner the way you want. But certainly, I think this might benefit Barcia. I think Barcia's better through this section than Harvick is. He wasn't better than Nadeau, although Harvick putting it down here, you know, when it's time to come to the end, there's a reason he's called the closer. He's going to have a chance at it.
He's further back than we've seen, though. I think, like you said, I think Nadeau was a little bit better through the end of that technical section where Barcia was good in the beginning of it. I think Harvick's better around this section from what I've seen. But if he's going to do something, he's going to need it to happen now.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know that he's got enough time. I don't know. I think Barcia's just better than Harvick at this point in the race through these areas.
We'll check lap times once again. As we take the white flag, yeah, Barcia an 0.90, Harvick 0.93, Nadeau also an 0.93, Craven still 0.80. But obviously way too far back unless these guys get battling pretty severe.
And I just don't see it happening. I don't think Harvick is as good as Nadeau is around the track. I think Nadeau was definitely the best bet for Barcia, although I say that, and this might be a chance at it through Big Bend and into the hairpin, but I just don't know if he's close. I don't think he's close enough.
No, I think that was, from what we've seen, that was his last chance. I would say, I think he's definitely better through Barcia there, but Barcia just better through, I guess we'll call them the little S's, and then these little sections right here. As we'll watch the gap, 0.36 and 0.38 as he goes defensive here.
And that's going to help Harvick. We're going to maybe see one last gas of this. At least, you know, I'll say this, for running road course races, they may not be able to get the passes done, but at least they're going to give us a show coming to the finish as much as they can.
And again, I would say this is where Barcia's a little bit better than Harvick, and I believe this is where Nadeau kind of rises to the top. But that gap you saw right there, just 0.2 already. I think that's all she wrote.
Yeah, I don't think Harvick is as good through this particular section as Nadeau is. And you could even see Nadeau's getting through there a little bit better even now. He's on Harvick's back bumper almost.
Yeah, still 0.4.
Certainly gonna be no. Barcia didn't go defensive, and that's enough to tell me that it just wasn't close enough. Barcia's able to pull away in that final little section. Harvick just didn't have enough. Barcia is going to clear through here, I think, pretty easily through Sunset Bend for the final time. Harvick definitely better through there, but just not close enough to really do anything with it. So he is going to come home second. But it's Justin Barcia, your winner from Sebring. I just I don't know. I think Nadu was definitely the better car through a good portion of that track. He definitely was giving Barcia a great run for his money on a couple of his corners, but Harvick managed to get the pass done and finish second. So Barcia, your winner.
Just to touch on lap times again, because we were kind of watching the whole time. Your top four, which we were kind of comparing there: Craven 2:08.5, Harv a 2:08.6, Bland, or sorry, I'm gonna say Bland. Barcia a 2:08.718, and then Nadu a 2:08.721. So again, Craven was definitely coming. Got the gap down to 5.3, but you know, I would have liked to saw a little bit, and I'll
not a little bit more action.
Yeah, maybe a dive bomb here from Nadu. I know Barsh went defensive, which obviously is understandable leading, but I think still a long way to go in the season. I think iRacing obviously adjusts the AI every update, so you never know. But we will quick here go through the results. And I'll let you take the top 12 this time.
So it's going to be Justin Barcia, your winner here in the Ford Mustang. Kevin Harvick bringing up second. Jerry Nadu in third. Fourth is Ricky Craven. A career day for Jeb Burton, if you would. Sixth place for Bobby Labonte. Seventh place, Leroy Jenkins. Eighth place, Jack Moff. Ninth place, Harrison Burton. 10th place, Matthew Hibbs. In 11th, we see Ty Majeski bring it home. 12th place, Ryan B.
13th, Jarrett Brooks. 14th, Jeffrey Earnhardt. And 15th, Danica Patrick, the last car to roll across the finish line. Your first car to DNF, Travis Pastrana. Cooper Webb, 17th. Noah Gragson, 18th. As we'll give him the first car to land on top of tires award. Doug Mytag, 19th. Eli Tomac, 20th. 21st, Kyle Busch. 22nd, Chase Briscoe. 23rd, Jason Anderson. And 24th, Haley Deegan. So we kind of touched on it there as well. I would argue two surprises. Well, actually more than two, but Jason Anderson, Briscoe, Kyle Busch, and even I would argue Gragson.
Yeah.
Gragson I can understand, but I'm curious about the whole Busch, Briscoe, and I believe Anderson incidents where they spun, didn't hit anything, and just tow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
All in all, though, not a bad race. You actually hit second and third perfectly. Harvick, you had second, Nadu third.
Yeah, just a little off on the winner. I picked Kyle Busch, but pretty well picked there. I figured Nadu, he had a good run in practice. I thought he'd do well in the race, and sure enough, he did well in the race. But Justin Barcia, he brought it home first. Monster Energy Supercross round 1 at Houston this past weekend, and he brings it home first at Sebring. Now he's got to head back out to Houston.
Yeah, in a couple hours' time, I believe he's actually going to compete again. But
yeah,
no, good race. I think the Cup guys are almost doomed for some rubber. I know, as you can see from this angle right here. Yeah. You see the rubber that was laid down today. That's going to be carried over and wore out. That's for sure. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe see a couple more slip and slides. But like I said, right now we got a full Cup field. I'll check here once we hop off the air. Check the entry list for tomorrow. But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. It's gonna be a long race again, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Now, any final thoughts here, Nick, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, big shout out, and I know I'm a little biased on this one, but Bobby Labonte. That man was sideways on, I think, 3 different occasions. He was almost completely around once, wrecked the car at one point, and still finished 6th. I mean, just an incredible job by Bobby Labonte to bring that car home in 6th. Leroy Jenkins managed to hold on to 7th. Did a great job recovering from making the pit stop for whatever reason it was. from 5th place. He was running at the time. Certainly, we're still not sure why him and Harrison made the pit stops that they did, but it did end up with them getting top 10s out of it. So if it was a scenario where they were likely going to blow an engine or not finish the race, then they certainly did the right strategy and managed to finish the race and get top 10. So excellent job by them. I'm excited to see these guys at Homestead next week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. I know we said trucks are off next week, and I believe we were thinking about taking GT4 off next week.
Yeah, just to kind of give us a little bit of a relaxed workload, if you would, for next week.
So that would bring us with Xfinity and Cup heading to Homestead next week. A little different for the Xfinity guys. They're used to all this rubber being on the track. They will have a fresh track for practice, and very little rubber to start the race. But interesting note too, I kind of touched on it pre-race, and I'm ready to not necessarily get out of Florida, but kind of head to our mile and a half and kind of see what we have for competition there. So I'm excited. A little more in my wheelhouse as far as experience, and be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think the drivers are excited. I think everybody, for the most part, pretty well excited. And Sebring, you've been fun so far. We got one more show here, and then we're going to be out of your hair, and we'll be off to a little bit further south.
Yeah, that's I think safe to say that's when the fun starts. Appreciate everybody that stopped by. I know Susie and Alex Cummings were in the chat. Like once again, obviously we appreciate you guys stopping by. Well, pretty sure that's about it. Get points updated, get all that sorted, and I think it's safe to say we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm Josh Conover, as always, and he is
Nick Gillis.